The richest people in the world buy the craziest, most unique, and sometimes useless houses. These are the most expensive homes that billionaires own. First up, one of the biggest power couples, Jay-Z and Beyoncé, had to go all out when they bought a house together. I'm talking the highest priced home ever sold in California. Right off the coast of Malibu, this thing looks straight out of space. And since Jay-Z has a history of being attacked on stage, they needed the best security they could get. And that's why they got bulletproof windows everywhere just to protect him. If you're a creep with a drone, you could see their 4 outdoor swimming pools, though I'm not sure why they need all that when they have their own private beach. This thing also has a full basketball court, spa, and gym. Altogether, that makes this mansion over $200 million. That's more than Travis Scott's entire net worth. This next house, though, wanted to take Jay-Z's title for the most expensive home sold, because the developers listed this Tony Stark-looking home for $500 million. This place is the biggest modern home in the U.S., 105,000 square feet. Like the Fresh Prince, it's located in the hills of Bel Air. For a project like this, you'd assume they had a buyer lined up. But no, billionaires didn't really want to buy it because it's filled with some weird-ass rooms. Like a room dedicated to jellyfish and another to candy. But it does have some cool stuff though. Like a whole-ass nightclub, a beauty salon, 5 pools, and an outdoor running track. I mean, you could live here completely isolated from the world. Even though the place seemed amazing, no one was biting at that price. But right before the owners were about to go bankrupt, they were saved by the Fashion Nova CEO Richard Sagian, worth $1.3 billion. He grabbed it for $141 million, $359 million less than the original price. Roofan has the deal of a lifetime, but you'll never guess how much Richard Branson spent on buying an entire island. This Caribbean island is full of bizarre-looking animals like flamingos and lemurs. It's also the perfect spot to practice his love for kite surfing. And even though his company's called Virgin, this place is so sick, there's no way a baddie would leave here as one. There's multiple villas, houses, hundreds of employees to tend to your every need. It's a gold digger's paradise. And you could actually book the whole island for yourself for the low price of $105,000 a night. Only Mr. Beast is going to be able to afford that. But you're not going to believe how much he actually bought the island for. Since he bought it back in the late 1970s before prices skyrocketed, it only cost him $180,000. Clearly he's made some money back, but there's no public figure for how much he's spent upgrading the island since then. He's had houses burned down and rebuilt even more luxurious ones, so it's gotta be near the tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. George Lucas' house wasn't as concerned with luxury, because it's a film nerd's paradise. The Skywalker Ranch is one of the most beautiful places any billionaire owns. It's got vineyards, mountain ranges, and rolling hills that make you feel like you're in the Victorian era. There's movie references all around the ranch, like a statue of Yoda, Charlie Chaplin's hat and cane, and a nude drawing of John Lennon. But the main draw of this ranch is that it actually houses the entire sound division of Lucasfilm, which is used for most of the Star Wars and Indiana Jones films. George found that he couldn't get the right sound out of a rented studio, so he decided to create his own. They can mix, design, and do any post-production at the Skywalker Ranch, and when the films are finished, they've got a huge movie theater with 3-story tall LED screens to premiere them. They've also got a huge research library and tons of books and materials for sound designers to use. Since Skywalker Ranch actually is a ranch, they produce their own wine, olive oil, and even Wagyu beef. And if you happen to get a little too wine drunk and cause a fire, they actually have their own fire department ready to respond to any emergencies. I guess that's the cost of being so secluded. With all these features, Skywalker Ranch comes out to a whopping $100 million. Who knew George had that much money? I guess letting Disney ruin Star Wars was worth it for him in the long run. George Lucas isn't quite royalty though, like the British monarchy. If you're a Brit, you know everyone is always complaining about how much of their taxes go to the royal family. And once you learn how much their main palace is worth, you might get why they need your money. Because just on the inside, there's 775 rooms, a private doctor's office, police station, and over 25,000 bottles of wine in their wine cellar? My God! There's also secret tunnels to a bunker, in case the whole world goes into Mad Max mode. It apparently connects to all the main houses that the royals live in, like this one in the prince's quarters. Their ballroom can hold over 600 guests alone, and almost every American president has been there. For all of this, Buckingham Palace is worth over $5 billion. That pretty much makes every senior member of the royal family a billionaire. The palace is one of the most expensive mansions in the world, but there's other rich dudes all around the world, not just in the West. Like Mukesh Ambani in India. He's worth over $111 billion. So he went all out when he bought a house in the heart of Mumbai. It's a tower called Antilia, and it's got over 27 stories, reaching 568 feet in the air. I mean, look at this thing. And it's even bigger on the inside. There's 6 lower levels with space just for 168 cars, and the top 4 floors are all dedicated to vertical gardens. It's got a 50-seat movie theater, an ice room with artificial snow, and crystal chandeliers everywhere. This house is so big they need 600 staff members to maintain the damn place. It's also designed to be able to withstand a magnitude 8 earthquake, even though it looks straight up like a Jenga tower waiting to fall. All this together makes Ambani's residence worth over $2 billion. Bill Gates is a bit secretive about his house, too. So much so that a tour of his house went for $35,000 at a charity auction. And even though it's super futuristic on the inside, it actually looks just like a cabin on the outside, which makes sense in the woods of Washington. Bill calls it Xanadu 2.0, named after Citizen Kane's fictional mansion. His vision for the house was to have one of the first smart homes. Any guest of the house can change each room's lighting, music, and climate via touchpad devices. Throughout the place, there's $80,000 worth of touchscreens that can display artwork, or anything else you can imagine. Through the front and the bottom of the house, there's a stream with salmon and trout, so Bill can fish after pulling an all-night coding session. It's also home to a giant library with a $130 million book. Which is crazy because that's literally the price of his entire mansion for Tiger Woods. You'd expect about as much as his mansion costs, as one of the richest athletes in the world. He made sure he can work on his golf game even when he's at home. Tiger's mansion has a 4-hole course in the backyard, complete with a short game area and a video studio where you can analyze the swing. He's also got an oxygen therapy room, whatever that means, but the Florida island itself that he lives on, Jupiter Island, is hella expensive. Only 900 people live there. And he's in an even more exclusive neighborhood within it. So he had to put down $54 million on it. And like Tiger, Larry Ellison also needs time to escape from the media. So he built a house he felt would be the perfect mix of tranquility and harmony with nature. It sounds corny, but the house actually looks pretty cool. It's inspired by a 16th century Japanese emperor's palace, and it definitely shows through its bathhouse, dope Japanese gardens, and tea house. He dropped $70 million just to feel a little zen, and I didn't think you could feel zen in New York, but Ira Renner definitely tried. Renner wanted to find an area where he doesn't have to hear all that damn traffic, so he ended up paying $248 million for a New York estate in the Hamptons, but estimates say it might be worth $500 million now. This huge mansion has 12 chimneys for some reason. But that's not the only thing that's excessive. Because dude spent $150,000 on his hot tub alone. This is also the only home I've ever heard of that has its own power plant. I guess in case there's some sort of nuclear apocalypse. And apparently he's not the only one concerned with that. Because Mark Zuckerberg's also prepared. He straight up bought a Hawaii doomsday city just in case. For years, he's been buying up over 14 acres of land to build a compound of mansions, tree houses, and tunnels. Under the surface is a 5,000 square foot shelter with a blast-resistant door and a lifetime supply of energy and food. I guess we gotta become friends with Zuck if we want to survive the apocalypse. Even though Taylor Swift is rich enough to fly her private jet from bathroom to bathroom, her house isn't exactly as large as you expect. She does have 7 other mansions to her name, but she paid for her biggest Beverly Hills mansion in cash, which is even more crazy when you learn how much it cost. Previously owned by film producer Samuel Goldwyn, this place has the status of a historical landmark, making it an absolute headache to renovate. Taylor actually wants to restore to its exact glory from 1934, where it held parties for Hollywood's biggest stars. So it's got a whole Great Gatsby theme to it. But it also includes an Italian pool, tennis court, and screening room, costing Swift a slight $25 million.